Today, we are diving deep into the architecture of analytical thought. Really, the blueprint for how we make sense of the world and, just as importantly, how we share our ideas with others.
So let me ask you something right off the bat. When you really think about it, what are the two core skills that power pretty much every success you can imagine, from school to your career?
If you landed on thinking and communication, you've hit the nail on the head. You know, these aren't just classes we take. They are the absolute bedrock for how we learn, how we solve problems, and how we connect with people our entire lives. So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll get into why these skills matter so much. Then we're going to look at each one, thinking and communication on its own. After that, we'll explore how they're linked, and trust me, that's where the magic happens. Finally, we'll wrap up with some really practical ways you can start building up both of these skills right now.
Okay, let's start with that big picture, the why. Why are we zooming in so hard on just these two abilities?
Well, it's because everything really boils down to these two. They're like the twin engines that drive all of our learning and growth. You've got your ability to sort things out in your head, that's your thinking. And then you've got your ability to get those thoughts out into the world, that's your communication.
All right, let's tackle our first core skill, thinking. I want you to picture your ability to think critically as your own internal architect. This is the part of your mind that's designing, structuring, and checking the blueprints of an idea before you even open your mouth.
So what do we actually mean by thinking skills? Well, they're the mental tools we use to make sense of everything around us. It's not just about memorizing facts, right? It's about being able to analyze information, solve tricky problems, and make sound decisions.
And this is where it gets super practical. When you're thinking critically, you can take an argument apart to see if it actually makes sense. You can spot the hidden assumptions someone's making. You can figure out if a source of information is trustworthy or not. And all of that leads to making much, much better decisions.
And I love how Paul and Elder frame this here. Critical thinking isn't just letting your mind wander. No, it's a disciplined process. It's about holding your own thoughts to a higher standard, asking yourself, is this clear? Is this accurate? Is this logical?
Okay, so if thinking is your internal architect, then communication is your external bridge. It's how you take all those amazing ideas you've built in your head and get them across to other people, connecting your mind to theirs.
The definition here seems simple, but it's incredibly powerful. It's the skill of getting your ideas across clearly and effectively, whether you're talking to a group, writing an important email, or just having a chat with a friend.
But, and this is a huge but, good communication is so much more than just talking. It's a two-way street. It's about listening, really listening. It's about trying to see things from the other person's point of view. It's a full-contact sport. And, as Julia Wood points out, this isn't just some soft skill. It is absolutely central to, well, everything. It's the glue that holds our relationships together. It's what makes teamwork possible. It's how we share knowledge and build things together. It's basically how society works.
So we have our internal architect, thinking, and our external bridge, communication. But their real power, their true magic, isn't when they work alone. It's all about how they connect.
So you've got thinking on one side, that internal process of building and evaluating ideas. And on the other, you have communication, the external process of sharing those ideas. They seem like two totally separate things, right?
Well, here's the big reveal. They're actually in a constant feedback loop. Think about it. You can't communicate an idea clearly if your thoughts about it are a mess. And get this, the very act of trying to explain something to someone else actually forces you to sharpen your own thinking. It's a cycle.
And this isn't just some abstract theory. You see it all the time. You know the best way to test if you really get something? Try to teach it to someone else. When you have a discussion, you're basically stress testing your ideas against other points of view. And that makes your own ideas stronger. They are truly two sides of the very same coin.
Okay, so we've talked about the why these skills are essential, and the what they are. Now for the most important part, the how. How can you actually get better at this stuff?
I want you to think of this as a simple three-step workout for your brain, because these skills aren't things you just learn about. They're muscles that you have to build through practice. First step, actively discuss ideas. Don't just passively consume information. Ask the big questions. Challenge the assumptions you hear. Try to connect what you're learning to actual, real-life problems. This is how you build those critical thinking muscles. Step 2, practice explaining things. And you can start really, really small.
Even just introducing yourself clearly and saying what you want to work on is great practice. The whole point is to just become more aware of how you're sharing information and to always aim for clarity.
And finally, step 3, reflect. We've all been there, right? That conversation or that email that just went totally wrong. Instead of cringing and forgetting about it, take a second to analyze it. What really caused the breakdown? What could you have done differently? That is how you turn a failure into a lesson.
So to wrap this all up, thinking is what gives your ideas structure. Communication is what gives those ideas a voice. They're locked in this powerful cycle where each one makes the other stronger. And the best part is, you can improve both of them, starting today with active, deliberate practice.
And that brings me to my final question for you. Based on everything we've talked about, what's one communication challenge in your life, maybe at work or at home, that you're going to tackle first?